This week on Kirfatu.
Hello and welcome to season 3. When we close the season, we go very high, but when we open, we go even higher. And I think there is no better higher guest than Horejah Bala Gaye. Horejah, welcome to Kirfatu.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
When you stormed the TRRC, you became the darling of the nation. But a lot of people started asking, who is Horejah Bala Gaye? Who is Horejah Bala Gaye?
I am, of course, Gambian, born and raised in the Gambia. I grew up in Cape Point, spent a lot of time in quiet neighborhoods, visiting friends, reading books, going to the beach. What I would describe as a typical Gambian childhood to a large extent. I went to the UK in 1999, so by 2001 I finished high school, well, sixth form.
Sixth form, yeah.
And then went to university. And then the rest of my education is pretty much in the UK.
So even before going to university, at what point did you knew that you wanted to do law?
I did, quite early on, perhaps when I was about 9 or 10 years old. And even though, yes, at the time I didn't really understand everything about being a lawyer, I found it interesting just from watching TV and just seeing lawyers. From my point of view at the time, lawyers were assisting other people. So I wanted to be a lawyer to defend people. So I did the bar in London for 1 year at BPP Law School. And after that, I was 22 years old when I was called to the bar.
Yeah.
So the big thing about being called to the bar in the UK is it sounds very prestigious. It's a very expensive thing to do as well. But there are also certain challenges or certain things about the UK system. Yeah. It's not as diverse as you would hope for it to be. And my intention was never to really practice in the UK, to be honest with you. Yeah. It was more about going to the UK, getting a good education, learning a lot of skills, and then coming back to Gambia.
So you went to intern for the ICC, and how was it even like getting that opportunity to intern at the ICC? After graduating from basically from school, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Incredible. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would end up at the ICC. And in fact, it was by the time I got there in March 2007, the Office of the Prosecutor had been set up in probably, I think, June of 2003. So it's all very new, even for the ICC. Yeah. Transiting to Holland itself had its challenges because I didn't speak the language. But transitioning to professional career at the ICC was just, I can't even describe it. Yeah. It's like walking into the building and, you know, when you're young, you're very sentimental and idealist in a certain way. Yeah. So I walked into the building thinking of all the names of people I had heard who either worked at the Rome conference, like setting up the court itself, or people who still worked at the ICC, and I was just fascinated. So I walked around the building like a bit aimlessly because you're not so sure what you're supposed
to be doing. Yeah.
And I think at that time I was also quite young. Yeah. So I think I had just turned 24 or something. Yeah. And had never really, I had internships, but this was a different kind of
level.
Not at that level at all. So I was put on the ICC's first case, the Lubanga case. So that's the first case that I worked on as an intern and then subsequently as a staff member.
After 12 years, almost 11 years career at the ICC, what are some of the high-profile cases that you worked on?
Lubanga was fascinating and it was important because of child soldiers, and it was the first case that the ICC had. Yeah. So that was just an important learning curve for me and just my contributions. But a lot of my highlights were really on the Bemba case. And that's a case that it's near and dear to me. I believe in that case a lot. And a lot of what I did, a lot of the hard work was really to ensure that we did a good job or did the best that we could. One thing for sure is at the ICC, I expected, like everyone else, my first time in court would be to sit down, listen, and just observe while my seniors made submissions. Yeah. But as fate would have it, the first time I stepped into a courtroom, I had to make submissions. And so you can imagine young lawyer,
Yeah.
never made any submissions in any court, not in Gambia, not
in
anywhere.
England, yeah.
I had to make submissions at the ICC, my first appearance.
You know, with this wealth of experience and all what you have done in the ICC, a lot of people did not know who Horejah was. But I would be imagining, why would I leave a job like the ICC to join the TRRC? What was the motivation?
Yes, first of all, I wouldn't do that for any other country.
Yeah.
Doing it for my country was quite special. And it's something I felt I had a responsibility to do. And more so because throughout my career I had worked abroad. So I didn't really work in the Gambia. And so when the new government came in, things were changing. It seemed like there were many things that could happen. There was hope in the Gambia at the time. And so I was looking for opportunities to come home and help and do work at home.
What case was so remarkable to you at the TRRC, and of course very emotional as well?
I mean, I would of course give the answer that they were all very important, and there was something different about each individual interaction. And certainly for me, when it comes to persons who have been adversely mentioned, I definitely take the view that the most important people that come before the TRC are victims.
Victims, yeah.
For me, persons who have been adversely mentioned, their role is to shed light on what happened to the victims and give us more information about the system and other things that occurred. So my focus definitely has always been, obviously, on all witnesses, but I particularly pay attention to victims. A lot of the experiences for me stood out. I can't really say that much, but the first time I questioned two people at the same time, having spoken to them, having known their story, so Basiru Barrow's two wives, that was quite something.
Why are you leaving at this point? And of course, we will talk about your husband. So tell us, how did you meet Alhaji? And I mean, you know, how can you be in love with somebody all the way from Kiang or Jara? You know, I don't even know. Why didn't you look for Abadibunka? Why? What was it about for him?